Hey, welcome back to Movement Link. So I just got done with today's workout. It is for intensity and technique. I'll go through the workout, but I'll also talk about this new kind of thing I'm trying. It's an experiment I'm doing, so I'll be updating you and I'll have a video out on that, but it's just about nose breathing. So I'll start putting into context a little bit more about how we can use these workouts that are for intensity and technique, take the priority off time, get a good workout in, and really push ourselves to keep getting better and better. So let's just start off with what the workout is. We've got 5 rounds for intensity and technique, 25 goblet squats. That's holding a kettlebell. You can also do this with dumbbells up here in front of you. This should be a heavy kettlebell. And for all of these things, we'll put scaling and at-home variations in the description of this video and on our workout blog. Then we've got 25 sit-ups, 25 box jumps at a very low box height, and 25 push-ups. So first of all, we should be scaling this stuff where, especially sit-ups, box jumps, push-ups, we can just kind of smooth or sail through it pretty smoothly. Same with all of these things. You should be able to go unbroken and to go unbroken and to go unbroken on all of these things. And then in the strategy, the workout isn't necessarily going to be to go unbroken, but that is something you should be able to do if you had to. So 5 rounds, 25 of each of these things. It's going to be a long one. So I think the fastest of the day will probably be right around or under 20 minutes. We're going to throw a 30-minute time cap on this one. So we got a long, slow one. The goblet squats, first round isn't that big of a deal. And really none of the rounds are that big of a deal. They're just really annoying. And that's kind of like all of these things. They're not that big of a deal. They're just all annoying in their own way. So the goblet squats, there's a few different variations on how we can hold this. And I chose to break up the first set into 2 sets. So I went 13 and 12. And then from there on out, I went 9, 8, 8. Probably should have done that from the very beginning because I kind of knew I was going to be breaking it up more. But I wanted to kind of push it a little bit and see what I could maintain. Then for the sit-ups, we should just be going nice, consistent, steady. Like always, one way to scale the sit-ups is just to try and do set 25. And then if you end up failing on a rep, then just stop where you are. Good job. We got your abs to failure, and just move on to the next thing. Box jumps, these should be low. This should be unbroken. I think it was from the goblet squats and the sit-ups, that kind of combination of you get your legs kind of blown up, and then the sit-ups, you're kind of blowing up that hip hinge motion, which in the box jump, we hip hinge to land on the box. So that's kind of blown up. So my box jumps were a little all over the place today. But so even more reason that this should be a low box where you have a wide margin for error. You'll probably see, or I don't know where it is, you might have already seen on this video, my first box jump was pretty gnarly. And usually I'm really smooth on box jumps, or kind of, and today it was really all over the place. Push-ups, you just got to be smart. So what we see all the time with push-ups is people come out and they just do almost as big of a set as they can in the beginning. And maybe they stop a few reps shy of failure. But think of it this way, you don't come out running, sprinting almost as fast as you can. You think about the run you're about to be on, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what is the pace that I can, what is the fastest pace that I can maintain to get the run done as quickly as possible, not to, let's come out the gate as fast as possible for my ego. So for me, I tried to go 5s. I ended up going like 4s and 5s to 3s in that range, mainly looking ahead, and you're kind of out of breath, so it's not that big of a deal. But I was mainly just trying to not blow my arms up so I didn't mess with the goblet squats. And then on the very last round, I just went all 25 unbroken because there's nothing after that, so it was just make it hurt, keep going, keep going, keep going. So remember, sometimes the best, fastest way forward is put that ego aside, pace it, be nice and steady, and change your strategy as you go. So 5 rounds, each round takes like 4 to 6 minutes, hence the 20 to 30 minute kind of range here. So that's kind of it strategy wise, like 2 to 3 sets here, unbroken, 5 or so sets there, just kind of depends how good you are. We can always scale these exercises with weight. We can scale it with what box height we're using. We can scale it with bands, or we can scale the number we're doing. And if you're doing these numbers, you should be able to do those numbers unbroken if you had to. So now let's get into the thing that I'm a little more excited about. And I'll have another video coming out on this, and I've started to hear a lot. I've always heard about it, but I've never actually started digging into the actual research and really digging into it. And I think it just has a lot to do with kind kind of how my nose specifically is. So I'll talk more about that. But really, it's the concept of the way we breathe and get air in through our mouth. We're so focused on, and we think it's oxygen, 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 but really you have to have a balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen. So a lot of times, and this is something I've said a whole lot in videos, is oxygen in, oxygen in, oxygen in. And so I don't know yet, but we might be wrong on that. And it might be, how do we get this balance, and how do we become more versed in just having higher levels of carbon dioxide in us without going into that I'm drowning freak out mode. So from what I'm hearing is there's a lot of benefits. We have a big nasal cavity, and in that nasal cavity, a lot of physiology happens that makes the oxygen that comes through your nose absorb better in your lungs. So I'm looking into it, I'm researching it, I'm doing experiments on myself. But one of the experiments I'm doing is I'm trying to really focus on breathing through my nose throughout the day. I'm trying to do that in everything, and I'm trying to morph my workouts into breathing through the nose. There's a lot of claims on how this really helps athletic performance, but just like everything else, it's not going to be an instant fix. So here's what I did. I went 3 rounds doing my normal way, and what I was looking for is just focusing on the workout like I usually would, then every now and then trying to check in and ask myself, am I breathing through my nose or breathing through my mouth? What I've caught myself doing throughout the day is typically breathing through my through my nose, and then every now and then I catch myself having these big breaths through my mouth. So what I was curious about is, when I'm in the middle of the workout, am I breathing through my nose, my mouth, both? What am I doing? Turns out in those first 3 rounds, I think I was really breathing out of my mouth almost exclusively. So what I tried to do is, on the last 2 rounds, I threw the time out the window. I was already pretty crushed, and then I was just like, I'm just going to, no matter what, breathe out of my nose. What I noticed is it really gave me the feeling of completely being out of control. I felt like I knew deep down I was getting enough oxygen, but I just felt this like sense of urgency that like I was not in control of my breath. So what I did is I just stuck with it, and I made up my mind, and even if it meant I take longer breaks, even if it meant I slowed down, I was going to only breathe through my nose for the last 2 rounds. And then when I finished the workout, also, I wasn't going to just go, I'm done. I was going to sit there and have my recovery be through the nose, through the nose, through the nose, to really just start practicing. So I didn't know if it was going to immediately feel better, feel the same, or feel way worse, and it felt way worse for me. I just felt like I wasn't able to get air in. I'm looking forward to, I have a little oximeter, so something that tells me how much oxygen I'm getting in. So one of the claims of nose breathing is it's not an oxygen problem. So something I'm going to do is take my oxygen level before warm-up, during warm-up, before I start the WOD, maybe in the middle of the WOD, and then right after the WOD, and just see if we can get different readings and see, are my oxygen levels actually going up and down as I'm really out of breath, or is it more of a carbon dioxide problem, which is kind of the argument that I've been hearing. So anyway, long story short, this was workout number 1. I'd gone on a long walk before, exclusively breathing through my nose, and what I noticed is as soon as I got up on a hill, I kind of pushed the pace, and same exact thing. Things that would normally not be an issue for me at all aerobically really freaked me out. So I don't know if it's a neurological thing. I don't know if I'm actually getting less or more air or not getting CO2 out. At this point, I don't know. So another thing I've got going, I don't know if you can see it on camera. This is going to be gross. I'm going to get up in it. But my nostrils, so I've never been diagnosed with a deviated septum, but I've also never gone and asked if I have one. But what I do know is that when I try and breathe in through my nose, one of my nostrils closes up. So the other thing I've heard too is a lot of times surgical intervention can have an extreme benefit. But what I've also heard is just how often you breathe out of your nose and how often you breathe out of your mouth will dictate how big these airways are. And so what I've heard is there's a lot of adaptations that can go on in your nostrils, in your airways, just through breathing out of your nose. So that's going to be step 1. I always like to do everything I can on my own first. That way, if I head the surgical intervention route, I know that that is the thing that I need, and I want to check off all of the boxes before I get there. So I've taken some before pictures of my nostrils and of my nose, and we'll just kind of see if anything changes. So really, it's an experiment of in sample size of 1. So this is just going to be completely anecdotal, but I'm extremely interested. So not only am I going to work on implementing, trying to learn how to breathe out of my nose and see how that negatively, positively, neutrally impacts kind of my life, how I feel, all of these things, my workouts. But also I thought this was a good opportunity to show you why so often 4 out of 5 workouts, we do these for intensity and technique. Today was still an amazing workout. I still got so many of the same benefits if I was just going for a score. But it allowed me the opportunity to learn and implement something new that hopefully in the long run is going to teach me something. I don't know which way it's going to go, but hopefully I learned something from this experience. So 4 out of 5 workouts, we get better, we train, we try and learn something, we improve an aspect of our technique. In this situation, my technique is how I breathe. Then 1 out of 5 workouts we test using what we know. How hard can you go? What's the best score you can get? How functional have you become from all the training? So I know this is a long one. Enjoy it. See if you can pick something out from these exercises. Maybe check in. Where's your breathing? Are you breathing only out of the mouth? Are you doing a mixture only out of the nose? I'm curious. Post it to comments. Let me know what you think. And like I said, I'll be updating y'all on how my progress goes. And I'll talk to y'all soon.